Hi, all you SPMEs out there. Today's question or problem has 3 answers, and you're going to want to stick around for the 3rd answer because I'm going to tell you exactly what it takes to get past overwhelm in the long run when it comes to self-publishing. So let's get into it. Today's question or problem was overwhelmed by too many options in self-publishing? And this is a very common problem. Not just with self-publishing, but with many other areas as well. When you first get started in something, you're so excited. You don't know where to start, but you're just excited to jump in and start with something. But then we start to understand that things can get complicated very fast, and self-publishing is no different than anything else in this exact same category. So when you first get started and you're moving along, you realize there are tools and there's all sorts of choices that you're going to need to make, whether which publishing companies you're going to go, are you going to do it yourself, what should you start with, what is most strategic, you have marketing, optimizing your books, even just writing the book itself creates a bit of a challenge for many authors when they're getting going. And this leads you to feel overwhelmed, frustrated, and feeling a high level of stress. Does this resonate at all with you? Well, if it does, then you're going to want to stick around for today's video because I'm going to answer exactly what you need to be doing in order to fix this. So let's get into it for today. This is Chris Barrett from selfpublishingmadeeasynow.com. Hit the subscribe button if you'd like for me to make more videos like this one. That's the way that you tell me that this video is helpful to you. You hit the subscribe button and I will create more videos. In addition, you can grab a copy of my absolutely free self-publishing checklist below to ensure that you are not skipping any of the most important steps when it comes to getting your book onto the market and also making money with marketing after it's on the market. So let's get into it. Buried by ships. So several years back, I was coordinating the movement of 5 ships in the North Sea off the coast of Norway. And these ships were pulling along in a gigantic lay barge that was laying piping. And the thing is that it took 4 ships in order to pull this entire thing. And then you had a final ship that would be bringing supplies to the lay barge. And all of this would be going all day long in order to lay 4 kilometers of pipeline. In fact, the largest pipeline supplying natural gas to the United Kingdom from Norway. And I was in charge of coordinating the motion of all of these ships, the storehouse for the supplies that they would be using, and also in terms of when they needed water and they needed additional supplies, they would be coming through the exact area that I was working and coordinating. Now, this may sound like a bit of well, you're just moving some ships around, but but in fact, it was incredibly difficult because the task after task kept coming in. You had to keep track of this and that, and you had all sorts of things you needed to remember. And in addition, a lot of decisions to be made regarding when we had issues that showed up, you had to make decisions while still keeping going on the other stuff. And so I don't know if you've ever seen like in China where they have the plates that they're balancing on the sticks, right? And they keep one plate and then another plate and another plate. And before you know it, you have so many of these spinning plates on top of these poles that they have, and it starts to get a bit confusing. And I immediately started to feel a sense of overwhelm, too many things to do at the same time. And that was when I was first introduced to David Allen's Get Things Done method. And this is a very powerful one that I'm going to explain to you right now. And so one of the first things that we do is we capture. So we take everything we need to remember to do and we capture it into a single system so that we have a single place. Now, you could write it down on pieces of paper. I would not suggest that. Or you could use Excel. I tried that. I got overwhelmed with that. Or you could use a system like Todoist. That's the program I use. And if you want to get more information on that, you can check below for my affiliate link in the description for the program that I use to track all of the projects that I'm doing within self-publishing and in just life in general. You can put them all in Todoist to make sure. So that's the first step. We're capturing them down. The next step is we schedule them out, figure out when exactly we're going to do these tasks reasonably so that we don't have too many tasks in a given day, and then we execute. So when the day starts, we look at our list, make sure it's doable, and then we execute on those lists. And I started doing this exact process with all of the tasks that were coming in for this process with all of these ships. And what I discovered was that the 2 things that you focus on with the Get Things Done method is what is the next step on this huge project or task that I'm doing, and what's the ultimate goal. So we keep that in mind, these 2. So in other words, well, how many things do I need to do? The answer is it's always just one thing, and it's the next step. But once you do the next step, then you have a new next step. But if you think about it, it's too many things coming in at you at the same time that's really creating all of your problems and frustration, as opposed to if you can just hold the focus to a single step, then it becomes completely doable. And the thing is the end result is you get a smooth flowing. And I found that with my projects that the amount of overwhelm that I was experiencing on these projects began to decrease. And I use the exact same steps when it comes to self-publishing. So overwhelmed by too many options in self-publishing, the first thing is slow everything down and ask, what is the next step? What do you have to do? I find way too many of my students are trying to get ahead of themselves. They create the overwhelm by asking, well, what do I do with marketing and stuff, when you haven't even got your book on the market yet? And so it is true that we should consider marketing before we even produce any product or service, making sure that the market even wants what we have to offer. But once we've got that in place, then we need to create the product or service. We do not start by trying to figure out, well, should I do it on Facebook or Amazon or something? We do not do that. We simply want to get our book onto the market first. The next thing is we use just-in-time learning, and that is we simply are not learning just-in-case learning is where you learn something because maybe later down the line you're going to need to do that. Instead of that, we're going to use just-in-time learning where we only learn a skill right before we need to use it. And that also prevents us from getting our head overwhelmed with too much information and too many ideas at once, resulting in overwhelm and the stress that results in, causing us to do nothing and never get our book onto the market. And then we have our daily action. So we're continually making actions every day, taking the most strategic actions next, and moving slowly forward with those actions. But our secret answer for the day, the third answer, it's that we need to focus on the daily joy of the process. This is probably the most important tip of everything that I'm giving you today for your self-publishing. It is a journey that you are on. You otherwise will experience the overwhelm, what I refer to as the Everest problem, which is you see Mount Everest and it's so tall, and no matter how much progress you make, you feel like you're not getting any closer up that mountain. But if you focus on the journey and enjoying the process itself, and this is very important, if you can't do that, then you should find something you can enjoy the process of. But otherwise, we're slowly every day making progress. We're taking our book and getting it formatted into Kindle. We're getting it onto the market. We're putting ads for the Amazon ads onto the market. We're getting our paperback version out. We're getting our audiobook version. Then we're moving on to Ingram Spark and Smashwords and Lulu. And we're slowly getting our distribution channels spread out. We're increasing our marketing efforts. We're doing content marketing. We're building up an advanced review team for our books to ensure that we're getting reviews for the books that are going. And we're hiring additional people to help us with this process as we start to see the money and the revenue coming in order to ensure that we can increase the speed and the quality of the books that we're getting onto the market. And we do one thing at a time. We do not allow ourselves to get overwhelmed, and we hold our focus on that, and we enjoy the journey. If you aren't enjoying the daily journey, we're doing something wrong. We do need to push through resistance that will try to stop us and tell us, oh, we just need to learn a little bit more. But at the end of the day, you really need to look and see, are you really enjoying the journey? If you're not, then you need to pull it back. And that's a key one. I can help you with that. Just let me know below. But do you feel overwhelmed by self-publishing? If you do, write yes. And if you don't, write no below in the comments. And that will definitely help me know where you're coming from to make better videos for you. And check up above me here for more video answers to your self-publishing questions. Thanks.